You ever experience that big Monday energy, but it's not a Monday? Frequently on this show, we think about Mondays because we usually record on a Monday night. So we're surrounded by it, all this Monday energy affecting everybody. But do you ever think that Monday's like a serpent? If we had to pick a metaphor for a Monday, it's got that serpentine energy, right? Serpentine Mondays, it's like a rattler in the bush, waiting to strike with all its Monday energy. However, this isn't the Monday show. We're not going to talk too much about Mondays or Monday memes, although it's obviously on my mind. It's actually BW Podcast with Johnny Spoiler. I'm only here to spoil some of the movies I love. That's how this thing goes. Have I ever accidentally spoiled something I don't like? I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that one. Anyway, the whole Monday thing is because I actually got stressed. And I was like, how much do I want to say on the show versus how much am I going to keep to myself and bite my tongue about real life? But anyway, I was stressed. Then I ate a can of tuna, immediately felt better. There's magic in that little can. However, I do remember Steve once told me that a man got boiled alive at a tuna factory and ended up in the cans of tuna. Whether there's truth in that, I don't know. It's like an urban legend, probably. You maybe could Google the reality of it if you were so inclined. My whole thing was, am I disturbed by the fact that somebody could have fell in at the tuna factory and ended up in the can that I ate, and then I actually felt better? So did I feel better because I had a cannibal experience or because I thought I was eating a can of tuna? That's where the uncomfortable feelings come from. That's where the thought-provoking thoughts come from. And as we all know, some people have been prosecuted for those cannibal thoughts. There's actually, they kicked an actor out of acting, right? Although I would say, like, he became an actor after spending a lifetime of just kind of hanging out. Because there's, like, this legacy actor who's, like, family. He's, like, a money family. And, let's see. He was in some Marvel stuff. He's in some drama stuff. A couple comedies. Some psychological thrillers. They say he had a real thrilling real life. And then, like, his text messages come out. And then it talks about how much of he feels like a cannibal. What is his name? Oh, Arnie Hammer. That's that dude. We've probably talked about the Hammer on this show before. But anyway, he got in trouble for thinking about things, which is, I don't know. Well, that's the world we live in. I'm making jokes, but obviously taken out of context, if you were to re-edit the clips, who knows what I'll sound like. Anyway, we're here to talk about this movie, but first I'm going to find out if I put my foot in my mouth by taking a sip of this red, delicious drink. What's delicious? Not the apple, the drink.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers Podcast.
Home video headlines. What's going on in the world of TV and movies? Actually, a wrestler from like the 90s, mostly active in the 90s, but then he did come back in the early 2000s. Had a horrible accident. Sid Vicious, right? Pretty famous stunt wrestler. Was on the WWE, was on the WWF, was on the WCW. Sid Vicious, named after the Sex Pistol band member. That's where the nickname comes from for his gimmick in wrestling. He's actually a pretty good wrestler, so he actually had this gnarly leg injury. I think he was like coming off a rope one time, and that put him out for like a decade or something, but he did have like a slight comeback. Anyway, he passed away recently. Go look up his old clips from Monday Night Nitro. That was probably peak Sid Vicious stuff. You remember Nitro? That was great. There used to be a channel called TNT. They used to show some Monday Night Nitro. That was like the Raw before there was Raw. It was like a WWE. You got to look this up. There's all this stuff going on, early wrestling anyway. And then after the wrestling Nitro, they would do there was a Robin Hood show that would come on that was also amped up and also Nitro. America, come on! What else is going on? Oh, the 20th anniversary of Shaun of the Dead. Get your friends and go enjoy a zombie movie back in theaters. Or if you missed it the first time around, go and take a look at that. And, yeah, man. So, tonight's movie is called The Unholy. It's from 1988. I want to read the taglines. Here's some of the taglines: seduction, submission, murder. Tonight, evil goes over the edge. And the other tagline, just a simple quote: you haven't got a prayer. So let's see. So all the sinners are getting killed while sinning because of a demon called the Unholy. If I just summarize the movie, I mean that's basically it. This gooey demon is gobbling up all these little, all these priests and whatnot, and then Father Michael's got to come in and clean it up. And you know what? We'll be right back with our favorite bits from the Unholy 1988 right after these messages. Surprisingly, tonight, there's only a brief message. I was already kind of yakking about it on LinkedIn and freaking TikTok and Instagram already, but everybody knows we're pumping out the Olipop, right? It's a soda thing I like. We've been talking about it. We have an affiliate code for it. You can find it in the links for the show. You can find it in my link tree of links where all my links. You can find all my links if you're so inclined. Anyway, but there was an Olipop executive teasing a new flavor on LinkedIn, saying we're climbing the mountain or we're going to the mountaintop or whatever. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna do a Mountain Dew style flavor, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to hunt this down. And I finally found it. Took a little while, but yeah, it's a pretty smooth ride. It does taste like you're going to the mountain. It's called Ridge Rush. Of course, it has kind of a tie-in, very mountain-related flavor. So in the same category. It actually has a higher juice content than some of the other Olipops, but it's still got their Olismart root combos. I mean, listen to these crazy: Casanova root, chicory root, Jerusalem artichoke insulin, maple cactus, marshmallow root, Galandia flower, kudzu root, apple juice concentrate, Casanova root syrup, lemon juice, orange juice, lime juice. The tricky ingredients we get into stevia root, blah blah blah, Himalayan pink salt. Oh, the caffeine's from green tea, but it has the same amount as Mountain Dew. Basically, it has 50 milligrams of caffeine. It's like a can of coffee in your hand or something. Anyway, I like Olipop. I think this one tastes a little bit smoother than the rest of them. And again, if there's a link if you're so inclined. It'll get you 15% off your first order. And then if you subscribe to the Olipop pop box or whatever, the subscription box of soda, you'll get 15% off future orders. All right, now back to the podcast already in progress. We're cruising right along. We're talking about the Unholy 1988. Hard movie to find. It's not really streaming anywhere. If you have a public library subscription, you might find it in their video catalogs. I mean, I was digging through Internet Video Archive. I was on Dailymotion. I was on YouTube. I watched the movie through various clips, advertisements, and other reviews. I'm just piecing together the movie, Spoiler alert. The demon goes back to hell. No, I wasn't prepared to drop a spoiler, but I do like it. Although I should be prepared to drop a spoiler because that's the whole concept of the show, right? Yeah. Spoiler alert, the lady in red is dangerous. Spoiler alert, of course the lady in red is the demon. I mean, kind of gives it away, right? When this movie came out in the 80s, there was a whole theme that there was a redheaded, steamy, sexy supermodel in every movie, every TV show. And guess what? She was always the baddie. Look out for the lady in red. That's the whole concept. Anyway, this demon's poking around. It's trying to rev up your engines, get you excited, and then boom, you're dead. And yeah, if you can find this movie, we often say on the show, binge now, binge later, binge never. You can guess what it means. If you've been following along, you already know. Binge now is move it to the top of your list. You gotta watch it. Binge later is get around to it, but you don't gotta rush out and see it. or pay for it or whatever have you to find your movies. Somebody will give you a copy of it later or whatever. I mean, this movie is, hopefully you're somebody you know who's got a VHS collection or a DVD collection or something. Like, I apologize in advance because you're going to be on the hunt for the Unholy. Truly. But again, it's in the same category of these other movies: Exorcist, Prince of Darkness, Deliver Us from Evil, literally any accursed religious style horror movie, right? Demons and the whatnot. But this is movies about literal demons, right? They're in physical form. They're walking around. They're talking. They're acting like animals. Whatever. So yeah, it's a binge now if you can find it. Let's put it that way. Favorite bits from the Unholy 1988. What has Ben Cross? Ben Cross is like one of those like over the top, big mouth Shakespearean style actors. Like, I always feel like he's overacting. However, I know him as the villain from First Night, which is a King Arthur movie, right? With dang it, who's the guy that everybody liked in the 90s? Richard Gere plays Lancelot, and then you have Sir Sean Connery as King Arthur, no less. And anyway, in that movie, I'm pretty sure Ben Cross plays Prince Maligant. I don't even know if Prince Maligant's in Le Morte de Arthur, like the source material. I don't know. Because he just seems like he's playing... Like, it's weird. In the movie, it implies that he's like Arthur's cousin. He's like he's a knight of a neighboring kingdom. But as far as like the source material, where did Morgan come from? I mean, there's that one character that's who's supposed to be Arthur's kid who comes back and tries to steal the throne, and it's all nasty stuff, right? Which you might have seen in a better movie called Excalibur. But anyway, yeah, I think that's Ben Cross, and he's in here, but he's playing the hero. I guess if I have a gripe from the movie, it's that there's not a full demon seduction. I mean, you're revving us up for 80 minutes, and we think that's where it's going, and he's going to go to hell. Even if he manages to triumph over the demon in the end, you kind of want him to... I mean, he's got to basically lose and go to the deepest, darkest pits of despair, and he doesn't necessarily get there, so I don't know if we 100% buy it. But, Hal Holbrook's in the movie. He's a classic actor, classic filmmaker. We liked him in this other horror movie that we were talking about on last year's Summer Slash. Holy crap, it all gets tied back around. I think it's, what is the name of that movie? Girls' Night Out, where he played the sheriff. Is that right? I don't know. You'd have to dig up one of our old episodes. But this is the 6th year that we've run a summer of slasher movies. And they're not all necessarily slasher. There's only so many slashers out there. So we've done a lot of subgenres. This year we were doing like, where does horror and religion intersect? So we did a lot of religious bent horror movies for Summer Slash 666. And Unholy 88 made the cut. I didn't know I was going to be grinding my teeth trying to find the movie, right? And burning my fingers on the keyboard, trying to find this thing. That's what I mean. Like, just, keyboarding so much that your fingers heat up while you're using a laptop. It's a dumb metaphor. I don't know. I'm just kind of stalling for time because the episode's kind of short, and I want to make sure you get your money's worth here, folks, even though it's free. Want to make sure you get your money's worth, that you're entertained. Now I'm thinking about the Gladiator quote. We're not talking about Gladiator tonight. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to say 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 it. I'm not going to say, are you entertained? I'm not going to say that at all. All right. Favorite bits. The finale, the boss fight, the big climactic thing where the demon shows its true form. It's fascinating. And I think it's pretty popular because that's one of the only clips you can find online of the movies. You can watch the whole ending of the movie. So if you're just in for the 10 minutes, if you're just like, let me just get to the third act, or let me just see the finale, let me just see the creature, you can at least find that part. That's on YouTube, Daily Motion, everywhere else. And the trailer, the VHS trailers that are also clipped on YouTube kind of give many, many details away in the movie. But it's fun. Oh, it's so fun. The little goblins guys try to crucify the priest. Then the demon is teasing him, and he keeps transforming between the lady version and the actual snarling, slimy, drooling creature version, right? And it's still trying to seduce him even in the grotesque form, which is really hilarious. And the creature effects are great, but we'll get into that because we have some trivia. Well, I guess I did this in the reverse order. Usually I throw out the trivia before I talk about my personal stuff, but I'm just having a fun ride. So That's why I got to the binge and the favorite bits, kind of an unorthodox arrangement here, but that's fine. This movie could have easily maybe lined up for September because we do Weird September, but didn't quite make the cut for that. Anyway, what are the fans doing? Okay, fan reactions. What do we got? Jason, and I say Jason and not just Jason because he has a bunch of J's in front of his username, like JJJJ, so you have to sound it out. Jason. I told him I was going to call him out for chiming in. I told him he was going to be featured, mentioned, reacted to in this episode. How you doing, Jason? Hope to hear from you again. Thanks for chiming in on my Instagram. Thanks for being a fan. Thanks for tuning in and watching the show. So, he had asked me, hey, my wife and I, we're not big horror fans, but can you give us a recommendation for something similar like The Haunt? The Haunt is okay, and it's kind of like it's a haunted house setting with haunted house actors, but is it really haunted? I think that's The Haunt. Anyway, I looked it up. It seemed familiar. I don't remember liking this movie too much, and I don't remember much about it. However, I was like, well, if you're not going to stomp at the themes of The Haunt and you want something better, you're going to dive into The House That October Built, because that's about like haunted house actors that are actually really disturbing psycho killer types. And I guess you could go back even further and go like to the Funhouse, similar subgenre. Because what's scary about that whole concept is like that the people working at the amusement park or the attractions could really be the killers, right? Or they really have like a psycho bent to them that you could be in real harm. So the House that October Built seems kind of serious, like it could really happen because it's like some friends and it's a mockumentary style thing, and they're like gonna go to a haunted house and then they become victimized, and it's could be scary because of the plausibility, right? But yeah, so if you've watched The Haunt, you're looking for something similar or something to be outdo that one, I would move on to The House That October Built. From there, you're going to go to Truth or Dare 2018, right? So if you're kind of earning your stripes as a horror movie fan and you're getting a little bit more desensitized with each viewing and you're kind of like, I don't know, leveling up, so to speak, as a horror fan, you go from The Haunt to The House That October Built to Truth or Dare 2018. Eventually, you're going to end up at a movie like Terrifier. And then you've graduated. Congratulations, you're a student of horror films. No, just kidding. If I wanted to send you to like, a horror movie college, what would I have you watch? That's a good question. It's a very good question. Probably the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Last House on the Left. Probably Friday the 13th. Probably was it 4 or 5? What else? I'd probably make you watch Cemetery Man, The Fog. I don't know. I wasn't prepared to launch into an idea like that. If I had to send you to horror movie school, what would I have you watch? I like a lot of monster movies. I like a lot of 80s stuff. Definitely you got to plug in Demons and Demons 2. You got to get into Dario Argento stuff. Yeah, man. There's a lot out there. I don't know if I had to program a whole like summer school of horror movies, like where would I go? What would I have you watch? Yeah, man. Oh, Pieces for sure. That actually was in our original summer slash lineup. And what's funny about that is the whole concept of summer slash. I'll just say right now, like it's like hard to outdo the first year because you're like, oh, what are the top 10 slasher films everybody has to watch that have been made in the last 35 years? And we ran a list like that. But then another year we had like ooh, yeah. There was one called, what is this other movie called? There's one, I think it's called The Samurai, or it's like a German movie, and that one was pretty crazy. And what else is going on? Oh, Blood Diner is just like I said, for my zany monster type stuff. That's another one that we did. Anyway, I'm not gonna. No, this is not like a greatest hits of Summer Slash. Let's move on. Anyway, just added details. So, some trivia from the Unholy 1988. Here we go. The special effects game had to be stepped up after a test screening, so special effects master Bob Keane stepped up his game after a test screening. I can't tell. So if what I saw in the movie was after the redos, it's amazing because I give them props. I had no idea there was a problem with the special effects because the monster effects of this are killer. The next bit is a little strange. Camilo Villa, the director, considers this not a horror movie? Question mark. It's definitely a scary movie. If it's not, what is it? Like TV movie of the week, quality production, drama, thriller, Lifetime movie with a little bit demonic elements thrown in. Maybe if you remade it today, would it be on Lifetime Network? Probably. Philip Jordan, the screenwriter, said he was inspired. Well, this is IMDb stuff right here. This is according to IMDb's trivia page about this movie, that the screenwriter was impressed or inspired by the box office success of movies like The Omen and The Exorcist, and then he wrote The Unholy '88. Again, the coolest concept of the movie is the red-headed killer or seductress. The idea of like the shape-shifting demon lady, lady in red. I burped. I don't often burp on the show. Usually I block the mic. That red drink's really kicking in. Anyway, sorry about that. We'll just keep trucking along. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Other stuff, right? If not the movie of the week, if you're tired of horror movies, you don't want to watch The Unholy, you've had enough of it, the recommendation isn't strong enough, what else have we watched? What is in the staff pick? I rewatched this kind of absurd comedy called Mastermind, which is about a real crime. It's about a real armored car that got knocked over by one of its former employees. Might have been a Wells Fargo truck. You'll have to look up the story, but it's way over the top. Like it's got Zach Galifianakis, Owen Wilson, Jason Sudeikis, and everything is exaggerated, every kind of detail. I mean, maybe because the crime itself seems like way over the top, and it's like one of those things too good to be true, but it actually is. And I think some of that money is still missing if the stories are up to date about what really happened. But yeah, it's like an armored car gets knocked over. I guess maybe the guy in real life must be kind of a zany character, right? Like the guy it's based on, the guy who was prosecuted, he must be kind of like a nut, right? Anyway, but the movie's very, very absurd. But it's worth watching, and I have the DVD. And then I was at a friend's house, and I was like, "Oh, you got a TV hooked up with an actual DVD player?" I just got these things on my shelf, looking like ornaments, decoration. I watch everything on my phone now. So anyway, I popped in the DVD that I owned, and I watched it there, and it was a hell of an experience. And I laughed and I joked, and it was good. So yeah, so if you're looking for something else, watch Masterminds. If you watch Galifianakis and the clown show that he was in, what is that thing called? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, if you're a Zach Galifianakis for Zach, oh wait, Between Two Ferns, that's his internet show. So yeah, so if you like him in that, you want something else to watch him in, Masterminds is available. So what's going on? I had mentioned accidentally a few minutes ago that we're rolling into September, and that time of the year we always pick a series of movies that we consider weird, which is funny because just about everything we watch and critique and react to is weird. So I don't know. Like we'll have to find actually, here's the secret. Like the list is already ready to go. We know what we're watching, and we're going to be dropping some titles next week. We'll also make some shorter videos. People are loving the clips, so we'll have to throw out some videos made just for the Soch and talk about the experience of watching these weird movies. Man, thanks for sitting here with me for like 20 minutes. I don't know what you're doing out there. I don't know if Mondays bother you. I don't know what your favorite religious horror movie is. If you're just an Exorcist fan or if you've gone deeper into the subgenre. I don't even know if you like to drink things that are red, or if you actually do like to eat apples. Apples are good, just not the red ones. There's much better apples out there if you can get your hands on them. If you're lucky enough, count your blessings, right? That you can get a pretty good apple, to eat. That's it for me. I'm just joshing you. I'm joking. Thanks for sticking it out with BW Podcast. Go to bwpodcast.com for more information. Grab the links. Get some Olipop. What else is going on? Subscribe. It's on the podcast channels. Comment back, and we'll read your comments on the show, of course. All right, man. Until next time, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.